So this is chapter Absolute Monarchs, part 1. Up here. For all of these, I want you to take these as an example of absolute monarchy and examples of various countries. Though some of the people are important, it's more important to know what they did and how they ran the government than completely memorizing their names. At least overall. So you might have to memorize their names for this, but in general. Alright. So, what is an absolute monarchy? And if you remember back to government, you should have an idea of what this answer is. Alright, let's see. When kings and queens share power with an elite group, when kings and queens have no control, when kings and queens share power with parliament, or when kings and queens rule through tight control, holding all the power. Alright. From 1500 to 1800, there were strong absolute monarchs throughout the countries in Europe and Russia. Absolute monarchs ruled through tight control, holding all the power. So that's where that is. The church's power had weakened, which helped make the absolute monarchs stronger. Absolute monarchs also ended up being stronger by solving conflicts within their countries. So, answer to number 1 is this guy. Okay. What is divine right? When the right to rule is given to the monarch by the people, when the right to rule is inherited, when the right to rule is given to the monarch by an elite group, or when the right to rule is given to the monarch by God. Now, if I had to sit here and think about the answer without even reading it, I would be looking at the word divine and see which one of these kind of fits with this word. All right. Many of the absolute monarchs believed in divine right. The right to rule was given to the monarch by God. And this is going to make them to where people won't question them, because essentially all the monarch is going to have to do is say, by challenging me, you're challenging God. My rule was given to me by God, and so anything I do is sanctioned by him. Of course, it gets a little complicated when all the monarchs think this, and they're going to war with each other, and each one thinks they're right. So, if each one was right, then essentially, God would have sat there and been like, yeah, you both are right, go to war. I'm just going to sit back and watch. Alright, why did 7 provinces in Spain declare their independence? They wanted to be part of France, they had a famine, they liked anarchy, taxes were too high. Spain. Charles V ruled the Holy Roman Empire and various other European countries. In 1556, he retired. He divided up the land between his brother and son. His brother received Austria and the Holy Roman Empire. His son, Philip II, received Spain and its colonies in the Americas. To get more land, Philip took over Portugal in 1588. He tried to take over England, but failed. We are going to go into that a little bit more. All right. Spain was receiving money from its colonies through gold and silver. However, this wealth led to some problems. Spain increased the taxes on the poor, decreasing overall wealth. Prices on goods rose as Spain brought goods from their enemies. This also made Spain's enemies stronger. So also think with this, so prices on goods rose as Spain bought goods from their enemies. So if we also think back to mercantilism, this would kind of fail there and be one of the reasons that people think that mercantilism is a good idea. Is to make sure that your people are buying from you versus you buying from them. All right. In 1579, 7 provinces in Spain declared their independence because of high taxes. They created the Dutch Republic. The Dutch Republic practiced religious freedom versus the strongly Catholic Spain. Also, the Dutch became a large trading empire with the largest fleet in the world. Oh, there we go. The Dutch Republic practiced religious freedom, which was different from Spain. That was extremely, and I already said it, Catholic. Why are all my answers D? The blank became a large trading empire with the largest fleet of ships in the world. I read that one as well. It's the Dutch. All right. What did the Edict of Nantes do? Granted the Catholics religious freedom, restrained the Huguenots, granted the Huguenots religious freedom, restrained the Catholics. All right, so this is France. In 1589, a Protestant prince took over France and became King Henry IV. France was torn by 8 religious wars, so King Henry IV became Catholic to please the majority of his people. In 1598, Henry IV issued the Edict of Nantes, which gave the Huguenots, French Protestants, the right to live in peace and have their own churches in some cities. Henry rebuilt the economy and brought peace to the land. All right. So this granted the Huguenots religious freedom. All right. Who ruled for Henry's son, a weak king? Cardinal Richelieu, Cardinal Mazarin, Cardinal Philip, or Cardinal Henry? Mazarin. Not Mazarin. Mazarin. All right. Henry was followed by his son, a weak king. However, his son had very good chief ministers. Cardinal Richelieu, who ruled for him. Cardinal Richelieu made the empire strong. He ordered that the Huguenots could not build walls around their cities, and the nobles had to destroy their castles. With this, the nobles could not hide within the walls to defy the king's power. Richelieu also used people from the middle class, not nobles, to work in government. This cut the nobles' power. And this is a portrait of that guy. All right, so this was Cardinal Richelieu. What was the intention behind not allowing the Huguenots to build walls around their cities and having the nobles destroy their castles? They could be attacked by Catholics. They could not tax the serfs and peasants. They could not hide behind their walls and defy the king's power. That's the one. They could not practice their own religions and have religious freedom. No, it's... that one right there. All right, let's see. What did Louis the 14th? So as I've been going, you see why this is the Roman numerals thing is coming up, because it's over and over again. So we've got our 10, and if we look here, you've got 1 and 5, so you subtract, so 14th. All right. So what did Louis the 14th build that displayed his life of luxury? Palace of France, extended the city of Paris, Garden of Versailles, or Palace of Versailles? In 1643, Louis XIV, age 5... Wait, I read this one, didn't I? No, I didn't. In 1643, Louis, age 5, became king. Cardinal Mazarin ruled for him until he was 23. Louis took the nobles out of government. He gave more power to the government officials and made sure they only answered to him. Louis did many things to increase France's power. He tried to build France's economy by convincing the French people only to buy French-made products. He urged people to settle in the new French colony, Canada. The fur trade from Canada brought wealth to France. Louis enjoyed a life of luxury and built a huge, beautiful palace at Versailles. And here I kind of put it. You will need to know this city. It's going to come up again later. In like World War I and II. Louis made France the most powerful nation in Europe with the highest population and a larger army than any other country. However, Louis did make some mistakes. He tried to get more land, but the other countries joined together to stop him. The high cost of wars combined with poor harvests produced problems in France. In the War of Spanish Succession from 1700 to 1713, France and Spain attempted to set up united thrones. The rest of Europe felt threatened and joined against them. France and Spain lost the war and had to give up some of their American and European colonies to England, the new rising power. All right, so he made the Palace of Versailles. Let me double check. Somebody said they didn't get. Okay, no. All right, so that is all the answers.